Hello and welcome back to Nothing But Real Life. Today we're going to talk about fetal alcohol spectrum disorder and what this lunchbox has to do with it. If any of you follow my Instagram feed or my Facebook feed, you will see that I just went to a fetal alcohol spectrum disorder conference. That's a mouthful. And there were so many things that I learned and found out that were literally mind-blowing and aha moment changing for me. I think I was driving people crazy. This is what I was doing. That is totally my kid. That's something he does. That is totally my kid. He does that. That sounds just like my kid. I think they were like, here's the thing. I have 5 kids that are affected by this. Should I have kept it to myself? I don't know. That's my kid! The reason that I went to this conference is because I have a few of my kids that I feel like we keep cycling through. They do well, then they don't, then they do well, and they don't, and I feel like we just keep getting nowhere. So I had a therapist suggest going to this conference, and she said that maybe I could find some similarities in fetal alcohol syndrome as in utero drug exposure. What I found out is usually moms that are taking drugs also are taking alcohol. The problem is alcohol is not illegal. Drugs are illegal. So people don't question moms having alcoholic beverages while they are pregnant, but they do ask about drugs. So here's the thing. If your kids have in utero drug exposure and were exposed to drugs in pregnancy, they probably were also exposed to alcohol. I cannot speak today. Anyway, so I thought, well, my kids don't have fetal alcohol spectrum disorder, and actually I'm just gonna call it FASD, way easier. So that's what it means when I say FDSD. Oh my word, I can't even say that, FASD. So what I found out is that across the board, all of my kids that we have adopted have big chunks of these characteristics. Okay, sorry I keep looking off of the side. I have some notes from yesterday that I'm looking at. But here's the thing. Even moms that have stopped drinking or stop using drugs when they find out they're pregnant, there is a period of time that they probably used or drank when they didn't know they were pregnant yet. So already, before a mom may even find out she's pregnant, she already has this baby that has developed the most important things in their body, the brain, things like that are already being developed. So here are the statistics that I found out. 1 in 20 of kids in the school system have characteristics of FASD. If you have children that have been in the foster care system, that percent goes up immensely. 70% of kids that have been in the foster care system have high characteristics of FASD. And in my family, 5 of our children, 5, not 10, 5 of our children that have been in the foster care system, all 5 of them have very high amounts of characteristics from FASD. So I'm going to go over, and I'm probably going to do this in 3 segments. So make sure you follow along for the different segments that we're going to do. Make sure you subscribe for all of the different parts of fetal alcohol spectrum disorder that we're going to go over. I have twin boys, Ammon and Caleb, totally opposite ends of the spectrum, those two. One's completely introverted, the other one's completely outerverted? Is that a word? Ammon, who is super introverted, he has autism. He has been diagnosed with autism, and he is super sensitive to textures all across the board. His sensories are so high. He has a hard time with food. He's very picky with what he eats. He's very picky with the textures. He doesn't want his food to touch. He's picky with how clothes feel on him. He is overloaded very easily with noise or lights or people or a lot of stuff going on. He's so sensitive to sensory that we have to be really careful even when we're taking him out places. Then his twin brother, Caleb, on the flip side, is not even in tune with himself or his mind or his body. He has no sensitivity to that. Literally, to get him to calm down, I have to cut my arm off and wave it in front of him to be like, stop for a minute. And he's like, oh, your arm's cut off. What's going on? And then I'll be like, clean your room. He is that detached from anything going on with him. So those are twin boys that are totally on opposite ends of the spectrum. So each child that is affected by this, their characteristics are gonna be very different. There's a whole list of characteristics that you can go through, and kids are gonna have some of part of it and some of different things. So did that make sense? What my kids have, or what this child has or this child has, it may be very different. It looks very different. It's just like autism. The spectrum is very long. Okay, I'm gonna put up a picture of an affected brain and a typical infant brain. So here is a picture of two infant brains. The one that is on the left side is a normal infant brain, and the one that is on the right is a brain that has been affected by FAS. So what we're seeing here, the middle part of the brain that is on the left has neurons. The line that goes down the middle that looks dark, what is going on there is those are neurons that are going in between your right and left side of the brain that is sending signals back and forth. You can see the brain that has been affected on the right side does not have the space for those neurons to go back and forth. So that is one problem that these kids have, is they do not get the same signals that go back and forth as a typical infant brain would. You can also see the brain is much smaller, and there is also portions and pieces of that brain that are missing. So we wonder why our kids won't stop certain behaviors that they continue to do. The problem is not that they won't, it's that they can't. Their brain is different than a typical child's brain. They do not have the same neurons going back and forth carrying signals. They do not have the same portions of a full unaffected brain. They do not have those pieces there, and there are portions that they can't control. This was a huge wake-up call for me with some of my kids. There's things that my kids do, and I'm just like, why are you not getting this? We go over it and so many times, and the kids don't get it. I found out they can't. I need to teach them a different way of doing things to help them understand in a different way that their brain can handle. So this was a 7-hour seminar that I went to. I am not going to be able to give you all of the information that I learned in this short vlog. So if you want to continue to learn more things you can do, tips you can try, skills you can teach your kids, make sure you subscribe so you know when the next video comes up. The purpose of making this video is not to put blame anywhere. The purpose that we have in doing this is to educate people, to give people more knowledge about the things that are out there. Also to create a community of people and awareness of what people may be struggling in their families and in their homes, and how we can really reach out and help each other. Before I close, I want to tell you one more story. I've never in my whole life been okay or tolerated people that pick on other people that are different, smaller than them, bullying. There was a kid at our elementary school. I had a brother that was 2 years younger than me. There was a kid at our elementary school that used to pick on him and cause him a lot of problems. So one day I decided I was gonna take care of things, I was gonna stick up for my brother, and I was gonna, make things better for him. So I grabbed my lunchbox and I went to swing it at the kid. And by the way, I am not for violence whatsoever. Remember, I was a little kid, didn't have full thinking skills at the time. I grabbed my lunchbox and I went to swing it at the kid, and he ducked and I hit my brother in the head. Sorry, Chad. From that, my family has a saying that they've always said to me, and that is, when I am trying to fight for a cause or I am trying to push through something, they say, go get the lunchbox. So one day, before I was going to court to get some things in place for our kids, my mom stopped by and brought this lunchbox. It says, use the force. So you got use the force, you got the lunchbox. This is our symbol of fighting through things. When I talk about getting out your lunchbox and fighting for these kids, fighting for the services that they need, fighting for the treatments they need, and fighting to learn more knowledge and educate yourself more on what you can do to help your kids, that's the story I'm talking about. Go get the lunchbox so that we can be the voice for our kids. Thank you for taking some time to be with us today and learn more about FASD. I know that your time is precious and I appreciate you spending some of it with me. Thanks for joining us at Nothing But Real Life.